Akira, a skilled player who excels academically, resembles Kirito from Sword Art Online but with brown hair. One day, he is assaulted by a murderer directly from the game Dead by Daylight. Akira entices the assailant into an empty structure and impales him with a metal rod. Suddenly, a girl appears and eliminates the attacker, and Akira regains consciousness in a lecture hall with other individuals. Mion, the girl, clarifies that they have been selected and granted special powers. When a man tries to interrupt her, Mion morphs her hand into a cannon and eliminates him. She further explains that once their restraints are released, they can utilize their abilities without consequences for taking lives. Mion inquires if Tadaru, a class representative, or Kirasaki, a person resembling a dual city dweller, have any queries. Yuri asks why they were chosen, and Mion responds that it was purely random. Young informs Mion that it's time, and they are escorted to separate chambers where they can test their powers before engaging in one-on-one battles, the first trial. Akira enters his assigned room and is astonished by his newfound ability. Subsequently, Akira is taken to a chamber to face Kirasaki. The match concludes when one admits defeat or is slain, so Kirasaki suggests surrendering. In response, Akira retorts with a derogatory comment. As the match commences, Kirasaki transforms his weapon into a katana, prompting Akira to employ his resourcefulness to evade the attacks. Seeking refuge in a science preparation room, Akira skillfully employs various chemical tactics to bewilder his opponent. Akira realizes that his ability mirrors Mion's as a cannon materializes in his arm, causing severe harm to Kirasaki. Bleeding profusely, Kirasaki surrenders. Young questions why Akira didn't utilize that strategy from the beginning, and Mion explains that he was unable to do so. In a flashback, Akira's ability, Sophist, is unveiled, which adapts to match his opponent's perception. Mion is highly impressed. For now, Akira decides to go along with it and make Mion regret granting him this power. A few hours earlier, Yuri contemplates a way to return home. Yuri is an ordinary high school girl with two close friends. She faces two problems: a former classmate turned stalker and her mother, who frequently brings home strangers. Above all, Yuri despises the concept of random chance. One afternoon, she tragically dies while attempting to talk her stalker out of jumping off a roof. Frustrated, Yuri pounds on the door with no success. She opens an envelope and discovers that her ability grants her significantly enhanced physical strength. In a flashback, Yuri has managed to save almost 1,000,000 yen to escape from her mother permanently. Upon learning that her mother's boyfriend's daughter, Riria, has not eaten since breakfast, Yuri prepares some omnirus for her. Later, while showering, she notices cigarette burns on Riria's back. Yuri is led to encounter her opponent, Kazuto, an unsavory old pervert with the ability to sense the other person's emotions through smell. When the fight initiates, he exploits Yuri's feelings of anxiety and disgust to gain the advantage. In the flashback, after a young sex worker attempted to extort money from him, Kazuto murdered her. This transformed him into a serial strangler, and he eagerly anticipates doing the same to Yuri. However, upon mentioning random chance, Yuri's anger intensifies, unlocking the full potential of her abilities. She overwhelms Kazuto, despite his larger size, and claims victory. She has one motive: to return home, to rescue Riria. Later, Kazuto is brought into another room where he encounters Yuri, Kirasaki, and Shin. Mion announces that the next event is a 5v5 team battle. Satoru speaks up and reveals his power to transform a button into a rope. Yuri comments that his ability is useless. Shin, a former professional wrestler, describes his ability as granting invincibility for 2 seconds. And then Kirasaki and Yuri share their abilities. When it's Akira's turn, he asserts that his ability is identical to Mion's. If possible, he prefers not to disclose the true name of his power. Later, they are directed into an arena, and Akira realizes he has been deceived. The round is not a team battle but a series of judo-style matches, one at a time. Satoru faces Rin, who advises him to surrender. In exchange, she promises to offer him some kind of favor. Satoru considers it a tempting deal, but Yuri shouts at him to take the situation seriously. Satoru suggests flipping a coin to determine who will surrender, and Rin agrees. However, the moment Satoru looks up, Rin murders him. Poor guy didn't even make it halfway through the episode. Satoru's death sparks a dispute among their team, but Akira manages to calm them down. When it's Shin's turn, his opponent, Ringo, immediately concedes. Ringo explains that her power, copy, failed to work. Rin nearly chokes Ringo to death, but Zakamuen intervenes and soothes her. In truth, Ringo's ability allows her to copy another person's power at 1/10 its strength, making it impossible for her to defeat a grown man in combat. Kirasaki battles Zakamuen, who can transform marbles into wrecking balls. However, as Kirasaki evades and cuts through the projectiles, his true ability is revealed. Zakamuen realizes that she cannot emerge victorious when faced with Kirasaki's sword that can slice through anything. Yet, surrendering would subject her to the unpredictable wrath of Rin. Determined not to give up, Zakamuen hurls dozens of marbles that Kirasaki effortlessly slices through. Her final attack is thwarted by Kirasaki's concealed blade, and he once again urges her to surrender. However, he is struck by a stray marble that shatters both of his marbles. Akira steps onto the stage to confront Kyuji, and it is his moment to test his ability. When his cannon fails to materialize, he shifts his focus to Kirasaki, prompting the cannon to manifest. However, inexplicably, Akira's attacks fail to connect with Kyuji. Kyuji is filled with terror, as he has never excelled in anything in his life. Rin entices him by claiming that the girls will do his bidding if he emerges victorious, which motivates him to fight. However, Akira has already deduced Kyuji's ability to nullify other powers as long as his hand remains in contact with the ground. Kyuji surrenders, concluding Akira's tests. It becomes apparent that the person targeted by Akira's ability must also acknowledge him, explaining why it only manifested when he called out Kirasaki, and not when he attempted to target Kyuji's teammates. Yuri is up next, but she is horrified to encounter Aoji, the stalker who killed her. Aoji boasts about his ability to transform his body into iron, yet Yuri effortlessly sends him flying with a single punch. As a penalty, the losers are compelled to wear bunny outfits and serve the winners a Chinese-themed meal. Akira notices that Yuri's wrist is injured, so he stabilizes it with his handkerchief. Subsequently, they are led into another room for the third round. But Mion warns them that the true penalty still awaits the losers. Akira's team separates for the third round, and Shin expresses his hope to reunite with everyone. Akira requests that Yuri safely return his cherished childhood handkerchief to him later. After sowing this tiny seed of fondness, Akira ventures into a tunnel alone. He is provided with an interface device and informed that he has 100 points, needing to earn 1,000 to progress to the next round. However, it becomes apparent that the third round has been ongoing for quite some time. He encounters Katsuya, who intends to recruit him for the green team. 4 thugs, self-proclaimed as the Dragon 4 of the red team, chase after Yuri, leading to an untimely reunion. Despite being the Dragon 4, their emblems do not match. During the credits, Katsuya utilizes his bow ability to hold them off, but to their surprise, Matsushita also exhibits the power of a cannon, thanks to Yuri making them aware of it. Akira also manifests his cannon ability, creating an explosion that allows them to escape. Katsuya guides them to the green team's encampment. There, they are greeted by a little girl named Herka and a baby named Taro, and Akira is astonished to discover that the camp is populated by civilians. They meet Shirasagi, the leader of the green team. Both Shirasagi and Katsuya are excited to learn that Akira and Yuri possess combat-oriented abilities, which will turn the tide against the red team. Shirasagi explains that completing quests earns points that can be used to acquire supplies. However, the red team is led by 2 leaders who intend to indefinitely remain in this round by collecting players and utilizing them as slaves, never progressing further. At the red camp, Mitsuru reports to Hajime, the boss of the red team, regarding his failure. Hajime instructs Mitsuru to fetch a beer from Rin, but instead, he smashes Mitsuru's face with it. Hiro, the second boss, orders them to leave. However, Hiro is cautious about Akira's ability, suspecting it may be as rare as Hajime's. Shirasagi mentions the existence of a blue team that remains neutral in the conflict. He invites Yuri and Akira to join the green team, but Akira opts to hold Shirasagi hostage. Shirasagi challenges him to try it, and after a tense confrontation, Akira fires. Shirasagi successfully blocks Akira's cannon, demonstrating his own capabilities. Inamoko informs them that the influx of players complicates their housing situation. Akira offers to share a room with Yuri. Yuri becomes overly self-conscious about sharing a room with Akira, especially after discovering a condom. However, Akira convinces her that his ability is telepathy, allowing them to communicate without being monitored. After learning Yuri's motivations, he trusts her enough to disclose his true ability, Sophist. Later, Mion informs them about a special event scheduled for the following day. Shirasagi organizes his team into groups. The next day, they set out, and Akira reminds Yuri to remember their agreement. Upon arriving at the ruins, Mion summons hordes of ghouls to attack, each worth 30 points. Additionally, players are prohibited from harming one another. Shurasaga's formations efficiently eliminate the ghouls. Notable team leaders emerge: Iji, who can transform into iron, Purge, with mastery over voodoo dolls, and Toru, a teleporter. Akira convinces Yuri to continue believing his ability is telepathy while taking advantage of their wariness towards him, allowing him to alternate between manifesting his canon power. This enables him to freely switch between both abilities. Hajime and the red team arrive, and Kira utilizes his ability, forcibly collect debts, to coerce several civilians into charging at the ghouls. Among them is Ringo. Shurasagi is compelled to issue a rescue order, and after Akira and Yuri save Ringo, Mion unleashes a colossal zombie named Mayo. It plows through their ranks, unfazed by Akira's cannon. Shurasagi confronts Mayo himself, utilizing his ability, Peaceful Negotiation, to absorb Mayo's attacks and return them to him tenfold. The green team's celebration is short-lived as Mayo absorbs the nearby ghouls to regenerate. Mion declares that the boss battle is just beginning. Ignoring Shurasaga's commands, Akira and Yuri leap into battle against Mayo. Akira directs Yuri to follow his lead, and they lure Mayo into a blind spot. When it seems like Mayo has crushed Akira, he miraculously survives and obliterates its head. As it regenerates, Hajime descends and slays it once again, amused by Akira's extraordinary luck. To settle the long-standing dispute between the red and green teams, Mion announces a hunt the leader battle in 7 days. The winner will be determined by whoever can snatch away the other team's interface. However, Kira persuades Mion to impose an additional condition: the losing team will be exterminated. The green team returns to their base disheartened. Shurasagi confronts Akira, aware that his true ability is not the canon. However, Akira is unwilling to reveal anything further. After being defeated by Akira in an online game, Ringo becomes an enthusiastic admirer. Herka reappears after Shin rescues her from a red soldier. Mion officially announces the upcoming hunting game in 7 days, and Shurasagi motivates his team. Ringo shyly approaches Akira and discloses her knowledge of his ability. He invites her into his room, and Ringo reveals her own ability. She expresses a desire to become Akira's partner, believing herself to be the perfect match for him. The following day, Akira asks Yuri to accompany him to the blue team's headquarters for negotiations. Meanwhile, previously absent members of the red team make their return: Renka, an unstable loose cannon, and Kamui, an elderly man with the ability to seemingly disintegrate objects. Yuki comes back with a red team member who managed to escape with the assistance of one of their spies. He confirms Kira's suspicions: Akira's true ability is not the canon. Akira has Yuri imagine him as someone else, transforming into Ringo. Realizing that Yuri is aware of their abilities, Akira confides in her about Ringo's proposal to partner up. However, he makes it clear that he doesn't have complete trust in Ringo. They rendezvous with Amoto, the easygoing leader of the blue team, and Akira proposes offering them 500 points in exchange for their services as mercenaries. When Amoto expresses interest in having Yuri instead, Akira cancels the deal. Sensing Akira's determination, Amoto agrees to discuss Akira's proposal with his team. Akira Saki, who had gone unnoticed until now, announces his intention to join the red team and confront Akira. Akira tells him to go ahead. A few days later, Akira meets with Shurasagi, who reveals that several civilians are willing to join as medics. On the night before the battle, the red team holds a grand barbecue. Akira has a meeting with Ringo, Shin shares his resolve to fight with Herka, and Asuka, Taro's mother, gathers her courage. The next day, Mion announces the rules: each interface is worth 1 Mion point, and if they stray too far from their cuffs, it will activate and seal their powers. Additionally, there are 5 interface towers scattered throughout the area, and placing their interface on one grants them 10 MP. They can exchange these points for various actions from Mion, such as making an announcement, sealing an ability, and, most importantly, finding out her 3 sizes. The red team quickly captures several interface towers. However, Asuka encounters Hajime, who, despite being the king, is actively participating in the frontline battle. Asuka tries to stall for time until reinforcements arrive, but Hajime mercilessly beats her. Hajime's generals decimate the ill-prepared red team members, while Rin meets with Akira. Akira meets with Rin to finalize their agreement. Shin encounters Yuuki, who manipulates a small string to sever Shin's hand. Meanwhile, Hajime grows impatient and prepares to execute Asuka, but Yuri comes to her rescue. Both Yuri and Hajime possess similar abilities, but Yuri heeds Akira's advice and employs hit-and-run tactics. Seizing the moment, she lands a powerful blow that staggers Hajime. However, Kira's plan is already set in motion. Ringo and Shirasagi capture one of the red team's spies, but unbeknownst to them, the spy is killed, revealing the existence of a second spy, Momoko. A few minutes earlier, Akira and Yuri part ways after she insists on assisting Asuka. Nevertheless, Akira has a contingency plan in place. He encounters Kirasaki, who immediately attacks him. Rindo also arrives, causing Kirasaki to call for a truce. Prior to this encounter, Akira had Rin contact Rindo to relay his location, while he personally reached out to Kirasaki to arrange a duel. It's a strategic move worthy of a professional gamer. As Rindo's slashes seemingly strike them from a distance, Akira and Kirasaki are forced to retreat. Akira devises another plan and sends Kirasaki to ambush Rindo. Akira unleashes a cannon blast at Rindo, but when Rindo deflects it, Kirasaki uses the resulting splinters to create additional blades, ultimately killing Rindo. Purge, utilizing the last of her strength, attempts to eliminate Rinka, but Rinka manages to survive the attack. Rin confronts her, initiating a second fight. As Rin's blades prove ineffective in killing Rinka, she resorts to trapping her against a tree with leather restraints. Rin swiftly moves towards the tree line and eliminates the true ability user hidden inside a box. It turns out that Rinka was merely a puppet controlled by this individual. Rin struck a deal with Akira. In exchange for eliminating one of the red generals, Akira would vouch for Rin, affirming that she had been a green team spy all along. This way, regardless of the outcome, Rin would ensure her survival. She eliminates the last loose end, revealing her own ability as Iron Maiden, enabling her to create torture devices using bodily fluids. Yuuki nearly kills Shin with a neck guillotine, but Hercha comes to his rescue. In a flashback, Shin's brother, who was also a professional wrestler, donated his heart to save Shin's life. Shin's brother's spirit appears before him, motivating him to protect what lies ahead. Activating his power, Diamond Hand, Shin swiftly chokeslams Yuuki within a 2-second time frame. Tetsuya valiantly attempts to fend off Kamui. Akira emerges and encourages him to rescue Asuka. Akira throws a rock at Kamui, and upon witnessing its disintegration, Kamui deduces that Akira possesses chemical reaction powers. However, Kamui also reveals that he is aware that Akira's ability is not the canon. Akira unveils Rindu's sword, suggesting that his ability is to steal other abilities. Kamui is defenseless against the slash and sustains a mortal wound. Seizing Kamui's interface, Akira remarks that he had planned for his ability to come under scrutiny, enabling him to manipulate opponents' minds. Meanwhile, Ringo realizes belatedly that Momoko is the traitor. She discovers them engaged in a standoff with Shirasagi. Momoko reveals that Kairo and Hajime are her foster children whom she couldn't save in the past. Threatening to harm Taro, she coerces Shirasagi into surrendering, and ultimately she kills him. She reports this to Kairo, but Mion clarifies that the true king has yet to be defeated, indicating that Shirasagi wasn't the real king. Gaining courage, Ringo confronts Momoko. To her surprise, she activates her ability and acquires a formidable rapid-fire chain gun. Ringo convinces Momoko to ensure Taro's safety while they engage in battle. However, Ringo's reckless shots provide an opening for Momoko, who inflicts severe injuries on her. Nevertheless, Ringo refuses to give up. She shoots at a nearby cliff, making Momoko believe that Taro has been killed. However, Taro is unharmed. Ringo shoots the cliff again, triggering a landslide that incapacitates Momoko. In another location, Kirasaki and Shin arrive to support Yuri in her confrontation with Hajime. Meanwhile, Akira, the true king, confronts Kairo. However, the master strategist isn't without defense, as numerous hostages emerge from the forest. Akira faces the onslaught of Kairo's army of ability users. Earlier, Ringo explained that Kairo triggers his ability by having Hajime threaten to kill someone, only to swoop in and save them, creating a debt. Akira attempts to negotiate for time, but this plays into Kairo's hands, as each moment bought incurs a debt. Kairo restrains Akira's leg, forcing him to teleport. However, Kairo has prepared slaves to intercept him, allowing Kairo to stab Akira. Yet, in this intricate game akin to Yu-Gi-Oh!, Akira gazes upward and smiles. His earlier monologue makes Kairo aware of Shirasaga's ability, which Akira then employs against him. Kairo is sent crashing into a tree, shattering his ability. Akira reveals the meat and book armor hidden beneath his shirt, explaining that he infiltrated their base days ago to gather intelligence and study their tactics. Kairo acknowledges his defeat and surrenders his interface. However, he warns Akira that Hajime is unbeatable. Meanwhile, Yuri, Shin, and Kirasaki push Hajime into a tight spot, but he succumbs to a berserk state, unleashing unparalleled strength. He wrenches Kirasaki's arm with a punch, fractures Yuri's arm, and penetrates Hajime's invulnerability, all the while posing one question: what is he? In a flashback, Hajime and Kairo meet at a foster home, where Kairo presents him with a book titled A Kingdom for Everyone. They make a pact to create their own kingdom one day. However, the foster home's proprietor, a cruel man, subjects the children to physical and verbal abuse. When he snatches Kairo's book and crushes it underfoot, Hajime erupts in a frenzy and bludgeons him to death with an ashtray. Yuri draws parallels between him and another abused child, vowing to end this battle so she can reunite with Riria. The two engage in combat, allowing their fists to speak. The impact shatters Hajime's left arm, leaving him astounded by Yuri's determination. Undeterred, he continues to pummel her, yet she refuses to fall. Though the body is battered, the spirit remains unyielding. Finally, Hajime experiences pain as his own bones crumble, and Yuri executes her ultimate attack. However, it lands weakly, and she realizes her ability has vanished. Hajime hurls her into a wall, inflicting severe injuries. It transpires that Kairo had only feigned the release of his slaves. He had kept his true interface with him all along, employing it to seal Yuri's powers. In his dying moments, he entrusts everything to Hajime. Hajime prepares to kill Yuri, but Akira employs a Mion point to make an announcement. He strikes a deal with Hajime, offering a one-on-one fight in exchange for his friend's safety, while issuing a threat to kill Kairo otherwise. Hajime, aware that Kairo has already perished, nonetheless accepts Akira's proposition. Herka and the others feel apprehensive, but Shirasagi, revealed to have survived, reassures her that Akira will emerge unscathed. Akira and Hajime rendezvous at the remnants, where Akira employs his ultimate ability, amplifying Yuri's strength tenfold. Hajime is swiftly knocked out with a single blow, urging Akira to relay a message to Yuri about saving the children. The green team is declared the victor, and they revel in Akira's triumph. However, their jubilation is short-lived. Nihon arrives accompanied by men in black to transport the wounded, while requesting Akira's final role as the king. While washing his face, Akira encounters Emoto, who possesses the same ability as him. Following Emoto's cannon blast, he reveals his intention to ultimately assassinate Nihon and requires Akira's support for that purpose. Akira succumbs to unconsciousness and awakens in his bed. After following his usual routine, he reunites with Yuri atop the Tokyo Skytree. The remaining characters examine their wrists and discover marks, signifying that the game is not yet over. Their 5 seconds of battle commence in Tokyo. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe for more content like this. See you in the next video.